Yep. Hey, Dave. It's so good to see you. Man, we are getting so much time on the mic together today. This is so much fun.
For all the time we've missed over the last year while I got myself a
Right.
boy job, we're making up for it today.
Yeah, we certainly are, and to help us make up for it. So we got Jenny Redlin, good friend of ours for Partner Engineering and Science. So great to see you, Jenny. Man, the last time I saw you, I think we were on stage together here at CLIC.
We were, yes, absolutely. It's so nice to be back in person.
I know.
And it feels a little, as close to normal as you can feel right in this moment. I
don't know. I've never felt normal, so I don't know what that's like.
Being normal is not really doesn't really work together.
Well, I feel almost
Yeah. I feel like that joke from Young Frankenstein. I got that brain, Abby normal. Right? Jenny, a lot has changed over the last 2 years, right? So when you're thinking about what you do when it comes to, the engineering and all of that kind of stuff and making everything better for the universe, what are you thinking about today and how has things changed for you over the last couple of years?
Yeah, sure. I mean, as you mentioned, the last time I was here, that was when really things were just being announced about coronavirus, COVID-19, and then everything shut down.
And to give everyone an understanding, when we were going back to the airport, I was with Bruce Ford and we were like, everything's going to shut down. There's going to be a mess. I don't know what's going to happen, but we made it through this particular event. And it was really funny because at the end of the event, someone asked a question, in a year from now, are we going to be talking about COVID? And two people raised their hands.
They were like, nope, it's going to go away. Yep. It's going to be like the bird flu, all those other ones that have come and gone. And this will be a non-event. Mark my words. Was
my prediction. My prediction was June. We're going to be back to normal by June of 2020. So don't take my word for anything.
Yeah, right.
So from our perspective and what we do, we shut down with the rest of the world. We were doing things like trying to figure out COVID protocols and testing for COVID because we kind of pivoted to that real quick. And that lasted all of about maybe 6 months. And then, commercial real estate just got back to doing what commercial real estate does on that side of the fence of my business. Although hotels obviously got hit in a very specific, way more unique way. Mm-hmm. So they were kind of out of commission, I'd say a lot longer than the rest of the commercial real estate
we're right now here in the Anaheim Resort District. Yeah. I mean, everyone here really suffered months and months of closures and then trying to build back that business when business wasn't there. It was impossible for these
Absolutely. But on the panel today, we were talking about the speed of recovery, and it sounds, especially in California, that things have just zoomed on, right? We
don't say the Z word. We're tired of
that.
We are. Jenny, we're in person. We're in person, Jenny. You're across from us. We don't talk about those virtual things right now. But you just moderated a panel in person, as you just kind of alluded to, and it was a great panel, really great discussion. So, what was kind of the one thing you took away from that panel?
I think one thing was the speed of recovery, that, it's kind of predicted by 23 or early 24 that most of the industry will be kind of back to 2019 levels, which I thought was interesting. But then in California specifically, that a lot of, depending on the market, which kind of, if it's a, extended stay or which particular location they are in, that they were actually already recovered, 80, 90% there.
Right. And again, for those of the folks that haven't been tuning in regularly, it's really a story of the haves or the have-nots. So downtown LA, downtown Anaheim, what the hell happened? Everyone else is like, oh my God, what the hell's happening? We got so much business.
Right. Absolutely. That was really interesting. I think, like you said, it was just nice to be up there and talking in person with people again. If I had to moderate yet another panel on Zoom, I don't want to do that. So knock on wood here. Hopefully we're done with that.
I know. Right now.
I know. I'm glad I didn't buy any of that Zoom stock. Let me tell you that. Although it is fun doing the virtual events as a complement to stuff that's live and in person. So us now being able to communicate with everyone all over the world in this way is so cool, set against the backdrop of being able to have people like you in person with us, So I feel like today is kind of the best of both worlds. Got me out of my house, which is always a good thing. Spent way too much time there the last 2 years. Though I got to tell you, Jenny, I've been traveling an awful lot the last year or so. It's been pretty amazing. I don't think I traveled any less in 2021 than I did in 2019, which is pretty.
Just 2020 was kind of.
2020 was really messed up.
Hey, we took a few nice trips in 2020.
We
Thank
took,
you, sir.
Yeah, what we started doing is because we weren't getting back on airplanes and there were no events to go to, we started doing live broadcasts and driving to those locations, and it was a whole lot of fun to be able to communicate with people and connect with people in that sort of a way. But I want to get back to what you're doing over there.
Sure.
I can talk about me all day, but that's nothing surprising.
He does it all day every day anyway.
I know. Usually I just turn on the mic at home and talk to myself because nobody wants to listen to me anyway. But so tell the audience a little bit about your business so they could understand what you guys are up to.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm one of the founding principals of Partner Engineering and Science. We're a full service nationwide environmental engineering and energy consulting firm. So we're out there, helping new prospective purchasers, look at assets, try to figure them out. Maybe they're doing, some large scale renovations. We're trying to figure out, how that's going to work. Just all the things that have to do with the actual building or the dirt that it's built on. We are, rolling up our sleeves and helping our different clients.
How are you approaching things differently now in 2022 than previously?
So, honestly, what's happening right now, I feel like is a little unprecedented.
Right.
We have never seen such large transactions.
It's unprecedented how many times people have used the word unprecedented in the last 2 years.
But the yo-yo effect of transaction volume dipping to having to kind of roar out of this, complicated by the fact that there's less and less labor. My industry is no different than, the hotel industry is struggling finding labor. Everyone's struggling finding labor. So we're really focused on hiring right now, hiring and training and not losing our culture. Those are the things that we're focused on a daily basis right now.
It sounds like the day-to-day in every hotel in the world right now as well. But Bruce during the keynote was talking about that
Bruce Ford of Logic
Econometrics was talking about the large number of transactions that you just kind of alluded to.
Right.
So how is that kind of, as you've come out of 2020, shifted your focus, or is there a shift in focus from pre-pandemic level or times?
Let's see, on the engineering side, I guess the main focus is being able to support our clients in that volume, right? So being ready for that. And then there's also, there is a shift in focus into ESG in our world as well. So that is something that is kind of like newer and we're at the forefront of and trying to figure out, what product types, what our clients want, what they need on the back end, how everyone is going to utilize this and rate different properties based on this. So I think that's kind of our newest push forward here. I think hopefully we're done talking about the pandemic and we can start focusing on new things.
I think we're done talking about the pandemic. I'm so tired of talking about this.
Me too. If I have to ask one more employee whether or not they're vaccinated, I just don't want to deal with it.
I totally hear you. How do you feel though, overall now here in California, which has been pretty strict, they're finally loosening the grip. I know from our side in New York, it was just, you could hear 7 million people go, oh,
100%. And I'm in LA County, which is probably one of the strictest ones as well. And finally, mask mandates are going to be, the mandate will be lifted, but they're still strongly recommended, and particularly for schools and school-age children.
Right.
So yeah, it is. I think that is a sign of, like you said, a big sigh of relief and just kind of like, okay, let's just let people do what they want. Everyone has decided how they want to deal with this, and now let's just move on.
Right, but the one lesson I've learned is if someone has a different opinion, I need to hate them a lot.
I need to not discuss it.
Tell everybody on Twitter about it. But you mentioned as well, that even regardless of the pandemic, environmental friendly and sustainability has a big push in the world, right? And it's rapidly changing. It's rapidly growing. So how do you guys stay on top of that? How are you in the forefront of that as you work with owners to develop a project, making sure that changes aren't moving too quickly, kind of like tech, where things are almost outdated before they come in?
Sure. I think we're still in the infancy of this, where everyone is trying to figure out what's going to be required, because lots of folks want to do what's required only. Yeah,
which is a pre-pandemic ritual.
Right. And then others are like, look, no, let's do the gold standard, right? Like whatever standard there is out there, we want to be the best at it. And so I think navigating that landscape and having being true consultants in that space right now, where we can decipher what the need is, what the want is, and instead of just a cookie cutter one size fits all.
Right.
But also, honestly, having a few different cookie cutters in the back of the house too, because some people just really don't know what they want. It's so new. A lot of people in their specific companies have been tasked to wear that hat, that ESG hat, and they've never had to do it before, and they don't understand it, and it's a heavy lift for them. So we're just trying to really help those folks.
Do you feel that because it is still so new and so kind of dynamic, or maybe untangible, if you want to say it, that ownership sometimes feels they have difficulty understanding the ROI behind that, and that there is a return on being sustainable and environmental friendly?
Yeah, I think depends on your model. A lot of people will say, well, I just pass through the cost, so it just doesn't matter to me.
Right.
And others will understand the value of reducing energy consumption and those types of things of their building as a benefit.
Speaking of reducing energy consumption, there's a lot of chatter about the prices of energy these days. So is that something that gets people to suddenly pay more attention to what you're doing?
I mean, sure. I think, the pandemic kind of overshadowed a lot of things, and a lot of these environmental initiatives just kind of get stuck in time.
Right.
As we move out of that, we're, seeing that. I think, solar is definitely coming back to play.
Yep.
Just doing smart, if you're already doing a renovation, doing smart renovations that really help with your energy consumption of the building.
Yep.
And then, there's pushes from different lending groups too, and the money. If you want to capture the equity firms' attention, the different pots of money that are out there, they want you to have an ESG program in place. And the person with the best ESG program, that might be the deciding factor on who gets their money.
Right.
So that's kind of one of the things that's driving, instead of just that people want to save the world.
I think also, again, the importance of ESG and sustainability, people that are, as we get older, right, younger generations, it's very important to them as they get older, as they move into their prime earning years, they're going to choose where they spend their dollar based on those same programs. Right.
Yeah, 100%. People are going to invest their dollar with different, let's call it a hotel REIT or whatever that has a really high ESG score.
Right.
So, the different rating agencies like Moody's and Morningstar and all these other groups are really starting to try to figure out exactly how they're going to measure this, so that way they can rank people. And I think once that gets figured out, then all of this will fall into place.
Right. I also think that travelers is where they're going to choose where to stay, just based on those types of things.
100%. Buying power will dictate this. And you're right. I think younger generations pay a lot more attention to this than our generation.
They certainly do. Yeah. Right. Yeah, no, it definitely a different generation than me.
Well,
Mr. Millennial over there.
Yeah, that's, what? In fact, because I'm a millennial, I think I'm done with work today. You're on your own. I'm taking a break.
Right.
Attaboy.
And because I'm Gen X, I'm just going to be ignored by society. So what are you going to do? Jenny, before we wrap up, any final thoughts, and then give yourself a good shameless plug?
Like I said before, we're just happy to be back in person. Happy to see some familiar faces.
Yep.
I think I missed it. I think when the pandemic first started, I was happy that I didn't have to travel, and now I can't wait. That was
the strangest thing, though, because we were all so physically and mentally exhausted on top of the coronavirus. It was so great to have that time to reconnect with ourselves and our families and stuff like that. Yeah, but it's really a great time to be back on the road now.
We're ready. And the energy here at CLIC 5 really shows that everyone's just so happy to be back here. That panel was so exciting. Everyone was really into it. They were focused. It was just a great conversation. So, CLIC 5, at least for me, is personifying all of that in one event.
How do we find Partner Engineering and Services?
Science? Absolutely. So Jenny Redlin, Partner Engineering and Science. Our website is easy, Partner ESI for Engineering Science Incorporated.com.
Nice.
And you can just Google Jenny Redlin and you'll find me.
Yep. Beautiful. Thank you, Jenny. Let me say official goodbye to you. Jenny, thank you so much for being here.
Right.
Really appreciate it. I was a little too quick on the trigger. Thank you so much.
That's never happened.
Never
sent a guest off way too early.
No, I get yelled at that regularly. It's an issue that I'm having. All right, everybody, we will be back again in just a couple of minutes.
Yes.
With an interview that I know is going to either be amazing or go completely off the rails. Stick around and see what happens. We'll see you shortly.